What's up, YouTube? This is Gilbert, LaLaLakers with Dizzy Gaming, here to bring you another video for the YouTube channel. One thing I want to talk about today is one of the most anticipated foreign exports, or imports, I guess you could say, from Korea to the North American scene. Former AD carry of the Season 3 World Champions, SKT Telecom T1, and that would be their ADC Piglet. Now on Team Liquid, he has made the transition over to North America. The first week, due to visa issues, he actually did have a replacement that performed very well, Keith McBrief, for Team Liquid. They started off 2-0, and then this past week, they went 0-2. Granted, against pretty good competition, they went against C9 and TSM. C9, although they are off to a very tough start, which I may cover in a future video, I still feel everyone pretty much considers them a top tier North American team. Everyone believes that they should be able to bounce back, with the proper work put in. They may need to address some issues. We'll have to see what happens with them. TSM is looking extremely strong, currently tied with CLG at the top of the North American ladder. But I wanted to talk about Piglet because there was so much hype around this guy for a good reason. He's a very, very talented ADC in my opinion, and he kind of disappointed. I know for sure if you're fantasy owners, luckily I don't play fantasy LCS, but at least not right now. And man, that would be painful because he had some very, very poor performances that were not expected. So I'm pretty much in this video, I'm going to cover why I feel that happened, that occurred. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the teams respected Piglet. They understood that, he is probably one of the best AD carries in North America without even playing a game in North America yet. And they executed strategies against him. So for C9 specifically, they went with a complete fuck you comp. If I'm not mistaken, they had Jarvan, Lissandra, which is already enough fuck you. And they just totally went after the Sivir that Piglet was playing. And then it was later found out that no masteries were used by Piglet. So definitely a huge mistake and oversight on his part. And I'm pretty positive that not only had something to do with it, but was probably a big factor in the reason why he was so behind early. It just looked like it wasn't even a fair matchup, and in a way, I guess it wasn't. But nonetheless, of course, that's an oversight on his part, as Riot mentioned in their last broadcast. If he would have noticed during the game or anything to that effect, or before First Blood or something like that is in the rule set, they could have reset the game and had kind of a do-over. Unfortunately, it seems he was not even in the right frame of mind to notice that he was down with 0 masteries. So, it's something that they're pretty much going to have to live with and is on their record now. When it came to TSM, they executed a very efficient lane swap. Now, lane swapping in the pros, a lot of people don't really understand. It's not just to do it. There's a very strategical reason. You want to make sure that you're not in the matchup that is supposed to lose. For example, if you get countered like an Ezreal into a Draven, you're probably going to want to do that lane swap so that your Ezreal is safe until he gets a couple items, and then he's able to compete with Draven on a more level playing field. So you're kind of sacrificing some top lane farm in exchange for some later mid-game presence. And TSM has been executing it perfectly with the start of the season. Dyrus has even been catching up on farm, even in these lane swaps, and he has played fantastic. So TSM, what they did, when they went to lane, they saw that Liquid was prepared for the lane swap. So what they did, they automatically said, all right, fuck this, recall to base, and then even though they lost about roughly a minute of their time, they get the matchup that they want and they felt they needed. Obviously, I do want to mention, a couple of smaller things that people might overlook just because they're so obvious is, they haven't had much practice time. Piglet just got back into North America last week, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 days before the actual games themselves. You would figure 4 or 5 days full practice, still you might see some results, but it was obvious that it wasn't enough. There was some definite synergy issues with him and X Special. I know that they've duoed quite a bit before he left to Korea, but he was probably playing a lot of solo queue over there as well, trying to keep his mechanics up, which they do look fine, but it's pretty obvious that him and X Special are on a slightly different page in the bot lane, at least so far. That is something that I feel will improve with time. Language barrier has also been brought up as, becoming a factor. And yeah, that makes sense too. Team Liquid seems to be doing their part. They've hired a full-time translator. Phoenix is obviously of Korean descent as well and speaks it fluently from my understanding. So he's kind of, I guess, the in-game translator for Piglet. And Piglet's attempting to learn English as we speak. So I think that these are both, the practice synergy and the language barrier. I think these are both issues that we'll see being fixed within the next couple weeks. It just takes time, and that's what I think a lot of people are overlooking right now. And then another thing too is that I noticed in the game, more of a team issue is that Team Liquid seems to revert back to their passive play style that haunted them when they were Team Curse last season, last couple seasons actually. It just seems like there were some times where Team Liquid would not force the issue so bad that they would just lay over and die. It's kind of like as soon as a minimal advantage goes to the opponent, they're like, all right, we have to play safe, we have to not die, don't even go for the kill. When realistically, they should be looking for the opportunities. That's not only the easiest way to get back, but probably the best way. As long as you take a safe approach to it, catching someone out in the jungle with some nice wards, that can easily swing the momentum back in your favor, make it a 5v4, and with that 5v4, maybe take some objectives like the mid lane turret, like the dragon, which they struggled with. And, that type of mentality of just rolling over and dying is harmful. It really is, especially when their team comp wasn't necessarily a great scaling team comp. It wasn't like they had a Kog'Maw, Rise or anything like that. They pretty much had Caitlyn, Nunu, and if I'm not mistaken, Janna. That's a siege comp. You need to not only get an advantage early, you need to get an advantage early and be able to snowball with it, or else you're going to be in big trouble. And that's kind of what they saw. So I think there's definitely some issues within the team as a whole, not just Piglet himself, but Piglet does need to step it up. And I think that that's something that we will be seeing in the upcoming weeks. So thanks you guys for watching once again. This has been LaLaLakers with Dizzy Gaming. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like the video, comment down below. If you have any ideas for any video topics to discuss on the channel, feel free to send them my way. And try to see if we can get a video out there for that. So yeah, thanks again for watching. This has been LaLaLakers, Dizzy Gaming. Stay competitive.